Hello, I'm Doris Fauche, the Superintendent of the St. Bernard Parish Public Schools, and on behalf of our schools and community, we are sending our heartfelt prayers for those who have been impacted by Hurricane Laura. In St. Bernard, we all know too well the damage and devastation that these kinds of storms can bring. But we also know firsthand about the kindness of strangers and the resilience of our people in Louisiana. And just as others came to us in our time of need, we pledge our support to those schools impacted by this latest storm, because that is what school people do. Besides storms, usually at this time of year, our attention is focused on two things: the beginning of a new school year and our annual Day of Reflection celebration. But as 2020 continues to show us, usual is not the norm right now. With the ongoing COVID restrictions and social distancing mandates in place, our 15th annual Day of Reflection, like so many other big gatherings, will not occur this year. I know I share the disappointment with many of you, as over the years our community breakfast has become truly a signature event, bringing friends, neighbors, state, local, and federal leaders to our campus. And let's not forget all of the candidates who visit us during an election year. Our annual celebration is always a time for reflections and reunions, for tears and laughter, for food and fellowship. A morning of poignant moments, live performances, and funny videos, or supposedly funny videos. This event means a lot to our school family each year because it brings people together. Those who live and work here, and those who miss living and working here, but whose love for the parish endures. Originally, the Day of Reflection was a solemn occasion, recognizing the hurt of our hometown and the enormity of our collective loss. But over the years, it has become a true celebration of our progress as a school district and as a community. In some ways, our breakfast serves as a measuring stick, showing how far we have come since those dark days in 2005. And while we won't gather as a group today, we still want to share our gratitude and appreciation for the support you have all shown our school system over the years. So on this 15th anniversary of our first annual Day of Reflection, as a reminder to all that will be missed, or as a recap for those who have never been, we present our Day of Reflection Abridged, 15 years in 15 minutes.
Our story begins on August 29, 2005, when Hurricane Katrina devastated the parish, destroying nearly every house in all of our schools. Shellman High School became a shelter of last resort as hundreds sought safety from the rising water. School leaders were there in this critical time for residents with critical needs. We fed them and cared for them during our darkest hour, because that's what school people do. When the waters finally receded, the enormity of the loss was overwhelming. But through the vision, tenacity, and the won't take no for an answer of our leadership, 11 weeks after the storm, the Unified School opened. Trailers on the Shellman High School campus to serve the over 300 students who enrolled. By the end of May of that year, over 2,000 students had returned home, and in May, the seniors of our three high schools, Shellman High School, Andrew Jackson, and St. Bernard, joined those from our Unified School to celebrate graduation, a true testament of togetherness.
In 2006, we gathered for our first annual Day of Reflection in the same gym that had been such a part of the tragic events of Katrina the year before. With a theme of faith, hope, and love, the day was a bittersweet one. A reunion for many and a celebration for the progress that had been made, but also a poignant reminder of how much was lost and how big the challenges ahead loomed.
A willingness to struggle against all odds and return home, because we know that's where our heart truly is.
Special guests included Senator Mary Landrieu and Representative Charlie Melanson. The highlight of the day was the treasure chest of heroes. where students thanked and honored those who rescued, helped, and nurtured us during our time of need.
I really just wanted to go home, but we couldn't. We couldn't go home until school opened. And then I heard about the unified school, and I found out that I could go home. I'm dedicating this school banner that flew at the unified school in remembrance of our heroes. Thank you, school board members, Ms. Voce, Mr. Warner, Mr. Carey, and the guys from Regal and Gibbs Construction for rebuilding our schools.
Courage was at the heart of our second annual Day of Reflection in 2007. A new tradition also began that day, the call to order by the Chalmette High School Longhorns. During this gathering, the focus was on the slow but steady progress taking place in our neighborhoods. We also showcased a new addition to our school family. These renovated buildings offered new hope to our community as children continued to return home. Joining Senator Landrieu and Congressman Melancon in attendance this year was Senator David Vitter.
Got into the traffic in the city, and then I ran into POTUS, President of the United States. They diverted me. They were going to a school up the road from here, which is very nice, but I would have liked to have said to Mr. President, go a little bit further down the road, and you can find schools that are the best in the world, and they did it on their own.
Great food and fellowship were once again at the forefront of the event, as were the musical offerings of our student performers.
I am a small part of the world. Take my hand.
2008's breakfast was an eerie one as Hurricane Gustav threatened the coast. There was much fear and anxiety that another storm could undo all of our progress. But the event continued, albeit with a wary eye on the weather. At this Day of Reflection, we welcome St. Bernard Middle, as well as Smith and Davies Elementary, back into our school family. The theme for the morning was Be Somebody's Hero, and after hearing from some of our local heroes, it was time to see them in action, as for the first time, Penn TV debuted its Hero Network.
Be somebody's hero. Be yourself. And remember, our heroes are always looking down on us.
I'm going to keep my eyes on you.
Cute kid videos, a moment of reflection, and a confetti showstopper were all part of the magic. And thankfully, Gustav caused no flooding and minimal wind damage in St. Bernard. A huge morale boost for our community still in recovery.
In August of 2009, our Day of Reflection highlighted two important building blocks for our district: the opening of the school-based health center at Chalmette High School and of its 9th grade academy. Senator David Vitter and Lieutenant Governor Mitch Landrieu were on hand that morning as part of the theme, Celebrate St. Bernard. There was also a special surprise presentation from Parish President Craig Tafaro.
There are several who stand above the others. With that, this morning, on behalf of St. Bernard Parish, Ms. Voce, we would like you to come up and accept the key to our parish because of being such a hero for us.
The Hero Network also reminded guests that our parish leaders were there to eliminate any doubt about our recovery. A game show, a symbolic selection to represent our continued growth, and a song and dance were great ways to celebrate this good time.
2010 was the 5th annual Day of Reflection, and this signature event took place in a new location that day, the 9th grade gym at Chalmette High. Besides this beautiful new location, the day also marked the return of a beautiful friend of St. Bernard, former First Lady Laura Bush.
Each time I visit, I'm struck by the strength and the optimism of the school leaders who've spent every day of the last 5 years working to ensure that students across the Gulf Coast can receive a great education.
Miss Bush served as the guest speaker of the event, and her generosity and legacy live on in our library's Laura Bush First Ladies Corner. The 5-year reunion showcased some of the past remembrances and guests, as well as highlighting some secret talent of our community leaders. There was a lot of respect being shown for our district's achievements, and the day ended with folks dancing in the street.
2011's Day of Reflection began with a powerful look back at the storm, serving as a reminder of the progress that had been made since Katrina. Part of that success was a result of the great partnership with FEMA and a great working relationship with its acting director of the Louisiana Recovery Office, Tony Russell, who served as the feature speaker of the day. A look back to the future and an amazing race were part of the proceedings. Another highlight of the day was our Hope montage.
I want to be a teacher because I could teach kids and then they could be smart like me.
A top 10 list and a closing community montage remind us all why we love St. Bernard and enjoy calling it home.
Our 7th annual Day of Reflection was not held in August, but rather September 12th because another storm had ravaged the southeast Louisiana coastline.
Like most of you, my home was devastated by Katrina in 2005. 7 years later, my husband and I, like many of our neighbors in Braithwaite, lost everything again, this time due to the storm surge of Hurricane Isaac.
But the gathering was also a reminder that we are a strong and resilient community, summed up perfectly by 2 musical selections, I Won't Give Up and What Doesn't Kill You Makes You Stronger.
I'm giving you all my love.
I'm still looking up.
The guest speaker of the day, Michael Hecht of GNO Inc., also shared his thoughts on the resilience of the metro area and the successes being enjoyed. A spoof of the Olympic Games and a message to stand up for public education were also a part of this event.
8 was great when the school board hosted its 8th annual Day of Reflection with a theme that we were all in this together, and this message of unity could be seen throughout the program. Times-Picayune columnist Sheila Stroop was the guest speaker of the day, offering her personal reflections and anecdotes. The Hero Network also showed the audience the softer side of our local leaders in a music video, Happy Together. And that Together theme was driven home as the day concluded with an inspiring message that together we can change the world.
I believe it's not too late.
Together we can change the world.
As it had for several years, the CHS Longhorns kicked off the 2014 Day of Reflection with newly elected House Majority Whip Steve Scalise in attendance, joining Senators Mary Landrieu and David Vitter. They and the chorus reminding us that we are one. And just as those federal and state leaders had been there for us during our trying times, so too did our school board members, proclaiming, I'll be there.
Just call my name and I'll be there.
This Day of Reflection also offered a glimpse of the quiet heroes that are part of our everyday life, a tribute to ordinary miracles. The celebration ended with a game show, spoof, and song, encouraging us all to go the distance.
Faith of the Heart was the theme of our 10th annual Day of Reflection. This historic event once again brought the community together for a great morning of food, fun, and fellowship. At the gathering, guests learned about the top 10 achievements of the district over the decade, including our teachers being ranked at the top of the state. And as Katrina fatigue began to factor into this otherwise happy gathering, the community decided it was time to let it go. And the group did just that, not just in song, but in spirit, as a jazz funeral and a balloon release brought some closure to our ongoing Katrina story.
2, 1, let it go!
Let it go, let it go, for this is the dawn of our new day.
Among other things, our 11th day of reflection was a salute to community service, as the day paid homage to those who protect and serve the people of our parish. The breakfast gathering also allowed us to pay tribute to some of the quiet heroes of our school district, our school principals. Each gives tirelessly to our teachers and students, and no one epitomizes that calling more than Wayne Warner, who has been at Chalmette High School for over 50 years.
So today, we say thank you for showing us all of the possibilities and your infinite influence on all of us. And as always, go Owls!
With a We Can attitude, the day also featured the first ever We Can update. Cheerleaders, doctors, and our own version of Hans and Franz were all part of the programming, reminding us it's all possible.
In 2017, we welcomed a new school into our family, Arlene Miro Elementary School, and celebrated our 12th annual Day of Reflection. The theme of the day centered on strength, which along with prayers was much needed for those who had been impacted by Hurricane Harvey. A special attention was also given out that day to a friend of the parish, Steve Scalise, who had been gravely injured in the shooting attack. Our gathering also highlighted some of the great things happening at Chalmette High, or as it was called that day,
Wayne's World, A School, excellent!
The breakfast also gave us a chance to bid adieu to a great friend and contributor to our school system, Mr. Albert Carey.
Our 13th annual Day of Reflection brought many of our distinguished alumni back on campus. Through personal stories and remote broadcasts, former Owls shared their love of CHS and the gratitude for the opportunities that our school had provided them in academics, art, and athletics. Louisiana's First Lady and former music educator, Donna Edwards, was the guest speaker for the day.
It's because of communities like yours, you're pulling together, you're working together, that you're making positive strides. And I pray and hope that all of our communities around our state will pull together for all our children and make this a positive and a wonderful place to live in the great state of Louisiana.
And as a tribute to her, music, as always, was a great part of the proceedings.
Nothing's gonna stop us now.
From school bus karaoke to performances by Chalmette High School alumni band and chorus, our Song of Success was celebrated.
Last year's celebration was all about connections. The school board shared its ties to the community, and two of our former students of the year served as hosts, showing us the connections from elementary to middle to high school. The chorus followed up with the aptly titled rendition of When I Grow Up. Community leaders also lifted their voices in song in a send-up to the Hamilton craze.
And we just happen to be in the greatest system in the world, in the greatest parish in the world.
And the celebration ended with something we all agree on. In St. Bernard, we are family.
We are indeed family, and it saddens me to think of all of the joy we could have experienced at this year's event, sharing some of the latest good news taking place in our schools, enjoying some live music from our talented Chalmette High School performers, or seeing some of our local leaders in a Tiger King spoof, or donning crazy costumes for our take on the Masked Singer. We had big plans for another great day of food and fun. And while our Day of Reflection breakfast will be postponed, we will still commemorate this last decade and a half today. From the challenges of Katrina and Corona to all the successes in between, we tell our stories in a new series, 15 in 15. Let's take a look.
Coming this school year, a new production from Penn TV entitled 15 in 15 will premiere. 15-minute monthly installments highlighting different aspects of our school district over the last 15 years. Episodes will take deeper dives into our school board members and the tough decisions that they had to make over the years, from Katrina to Corona. a look at the financial challenges and responsibilities that were an integral part of our recovery.
We'll explore some of our varied programs, from our cultural arts programs and planetarium shows to the wide array of academic and enrichment opportunities for kids across the district. Dance, music, chorus, charmers, tech, ballet are just some of the programs to be showcased.
15 and 15 will also highlight the contributions and legacy of some of our longtime school leaders. From the birth of the unified school to the virtual and hybrid models of today, we will sit down and hear from them about the challenges, changes, the progress, and their success stories.
Our new series will also feature the important role our partners play in our mission. We'll see and hear about the contributions from the Miro Foundation, the Methodist Health Clinic, Kiwanis, Rotary, and Lions Club. We'll shine the spotlight on the kindness of strangers and the depths of our partnerships that have helped us to recover, rebuild, and thrive. The resources they have shared and the opportunities that have been created as a result of their ongoing support.
Our school buildings will also be highlighted, from the trailers of the Unified School to our latest state-of-the-art buildings like Miro Elementary and the MoMA Center. We'll show how each was designed and constructed to provide the very best for our employees and staff. We'll use the buildings as a mirror to tell the story of our recovery and our growth, a timeline and mile markers on our journey. From damage, demolition, ribbon cuttings, and buildings in use, we'll open our doors to help tell our story.
It's a new time, but also a new opportunity. So watch Super News each month to find out more about our upcoming programs.
Our community has been through so much over these last 15 years, and it is our hope that 15 in 15 will document the tragedies and triumphs that have been a part of our school district's journey. And we look forward to sharing these stories with all of you. Thank you for your continued support of our school system, for our students, and for the ongoing partnerships that make our system such a strong one as we fulfill our promise, providing the very best learning opportunities, technology, and facilities for the children of our community, and to create a brighter future for the people of our parish.